After reading volume 12, I've been making this video for a few weeks where I'll tell you all my impressions about this controversial volume, which has been full of surprises, disappointments, expulsions, and what for me is one of the most interesting special exams to date. First, let's talk about the prologue, which I really liked. We've known for a while that Chie and Chasibara had a relationship beyond being teachers, but we'd never seen Chie Hoshinomiya's point of view so detailed. Now we know the reason for the hatred she sometimes showed, and also that the one who came out worst after that unanimous exam 10 years ago was her, not Chasibara. Now chapter 1 is quite calm. They explain the special exam, which I'll comment on later. Something funny is that Ayanokuji, in the most shonen way possible, says that he had a plan so that in the third year, the 4 classes would end up in class A with the same points, something quite cool. More now that in this volumes, Arisu and Ryuen compete to expel the other in the final special exam. And well, for K fans, he completely kills them when Ayanokuji says it wasn't a time to keep hope alive, but rather a stage of preparation to cut it off, making it clear that their breakup is imminent. Chapter 2 is more focused on the pre-exam, where Ayanokuji is going to meet with each of the leaders Friday afternoon, cafeteria in the Keyaki shopping mall with Horikita, Friday night, karaoke room with Ryuen, Sunday morning, bench in front of the gym on the way to school with Ichinose, and Sunday night, on the phone with Arisu. The conversation with Horikita, although it is quite inconsequential, something that I like a lot is the fact that it is precisely inconsequential. Ayanokuji talks to her without having to touch on important topics, just a conversation between two friends. Something that we rarely see, and that shows us how the relationship between the two has progressed. But at the end of the conversation, we have something very important. Ayanokuji tells Horikita that in exchange for being the leader in this special exam, he wants to have the same contract as Koenji, where he is not obliged to help the class anymore after this exam. Of course, if Horikita manages to win without his help, or Ayanokuji himself loses, he promises that he will give his best during the next 6 months for the class. A quite interesting bet, which Horikita has to accept no matter what. Now, after the meeting with Horikita, he meets Haruka, and well, as a Haruka fan I can only say, what a slut Ichika is, and Ayanokuji stops being an edgy for just 1 minute. Little else to comment on this scene. The scene with Ryuen is quite happens. He arrives at the karaoke, Ayanokuji warns him that he is at a disadvantage, and Ryuen tells him, I don't give a damn. Moving on to the next scene, we have the conversation with Yamamura, a character that I like quite a bit. Although, like other members of Class A, I feel that the author has pulled him out of nowhere. But well, here we are given the mystery that there is someone that Ayanokuji is looking for, but it is not revealed to us who it is. And I did not remember who it was, since I read volume 9 quite a while ago, but if you read the volumes in one go, you will probably get who it is right away. Anyway, after getting the information, Ayanokuji leaves, to meet with Matsushita, who confirms to us that the person Ayanokuji was looking for was from his own class. The next scene between Ayanokuji and Hashimoto is one of my favorites in this volume, since in retrospect, it has a lot of details that seem insignificant but have a lot of weight. Hashimoto says that he had planned to betray Arisu to help Ryuen, but that not knowing the rules, he is going to give up. But Ayanokuji urges him to do it. This sentence seems to make no sense, but seeing what happens in the final scene, I love how the author puts it to us directly, without hiding it. And even so, I think I speak for everyone when I say that nobody expected these words to be so important. And while Hashimoto leaves his room, Ayanokuji tells him, at least, don't lie to yourself, that's all you can do. The truth is that it's a great scene. And well, let's go to Ichinose's scene. I personally think it's a very good scene, and at the same time quite happens, Ichinose would say that it's one of the ones that come off the worst in this volume, and this conversation is somewhat strange. Because despite the obvious change that Ichinose had had during the last 5 volumes, the author already lets us see that this was going to break him completely. It may seem silly, but the fact that he lies to him saying that he won't be the leader in the special exam is quite strange. Knowing what will happen in the exam, I feel like Ayanokuji's behavior has spawned out of nowhere. Everything that has happened so far indicated that Ichinose was going to be a great danger, and there was even the possibility that Ayanokuji would go to his class, and suddenly he decides to break it. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that he has abandoned the plan for everyone to graduate in Class A, but this sudden change of mind doesn't seem strange to me. Now, I'm not going to comment on the Kanzaki scene because my god, I'll talk about this disappointment later. As for Arisu's scene, well, there's not much to highlight since nothing important is really said. What I do want to talk about is Ayanokuji's final sentence after hanging up the call. One of them will be defeated tomorrow and will leave school. I should just watch the result as a spectator. That was the correct answer. But if I were to express my true feelings openly, what result would I want? I tried not to think about it, but there was definitely a clear answer inside me, who I wanted to win. The answer had been there even before I met any of them, and the author has been giving us clues throughout the volume about who Ayanokuji was going to support. Clues that only become apparent once you reread it. Now, after the preparation, we move on to the special exam. This exam took me by surprise. The fact that it was neither a physical exam nor one that requires academic ability reduces the possibilities a lot. And I think it's the first time we see a special exam where the only thing required is your social ability. Now, as for the rules, at first it seems like a joke, but it's quite simple. In my case, I played this game as a child. We called it The Wolf and the People. In this case, it's a bit different, but I'm not going to explain how it works either, since I'll do that in the summary. But as I said, I really liked that the author managed to represent so well how it works, despite how difficult it seems at first. I think that after the first round, we all already had a clear idea of how something that doesn't work works, but it's quite difficult to achieve in an exam where there are more than 20 different mechanics, and each individual has a completely different role and function. Now, as for the representatives, the order is first Vanguard, then Middle Guard, and finally General. In Horikita's class, we have Hirata, Horikita herself, and Ayano Kuji in this order. For Arisu, we have Sanada Kitu, and as General Arisu herself, Ichinose has Hamaguchi, Kanzaki, and as General Ichinose. And finally Ryuen with Nishino, Katsuragi Kohei, and Ryuen as General. Of all these fights, I'm going to summarize the ones that are most irrelevant to me. But before commenting on the scene between Chie and Ayano Kuji, where she literally says that she would give him her body in exchange for him letting her win and moving to Ichinose's class, Ayano Kuji, as a good fan of the team match, rejects her. But holy god, the level of desperation and resentment that Chie has, I think no one would have imagined that she would go so far as to offer her body in exchange for Chasibara never fulfilling his dream. Well, the first duel between Hamaguchi and Hirata, I have to say that Hirata has disappointed me, being brutally beaten, and, well, being realistic, Kushida would have been the best option, but well, since they didn't know what the exam was about, there's not much to do. But I was disappointed with Kanzaki. After leaving, Horikita beats Hamaguchi, and Kanzaki makes a complete fool of herself, crying and begging for her to let him win. Something pathetic, and that doesn't make sense. Horikita was never going to do that. I don't know what happened to the author, or what his plan is with making Kanzaki humiliate herself, but I really liked her character. Now, as we all imagined when we saw the rules, Ichinose is literally immortal in this exam, and she beats Horikita without even complicating herself. And well, although many think, damn, Horikita, you're useless, the reality is that in this exam, there's no one in the whole school who can beat Ichinose, so on this occasion, her defeat was assured. Something I liked and missed was how Ayano Kuji hugged her after her defeat, since he is getting closer and closer to Horikita, but since Volume 8, we know that he will soon leave her class. And it is contradictory no matter how you look at it. I am hyped to see what happens in Volume 12.5 since I have the feeling that it will be a crazy volume. But anyway, going back to the exam, what I said before is that now suddenly Ayano Kuji eats Ichinose, leaving her on the floor and destroying all her confidence and development. It seems strange to me. It is like it is very gratuitous and does not fit with his attitude until now. But well, the scene itself is well done, especially the expulsion of Maizono, which is literally what would have happened to Kushida if Horikita had not saved his ass. Ayano Kuji danced it as he wanted, and on top of that, he made a tremendous joke. But well, with this, the battle of Class B against Class D ends, and we move on to the other fight. Sanada easily beats Nishino, who, well, is just there for the sake of it. Then comes Katsuragi's Giga Chad, who easily beats Sanada and Kitu, but he is defeated against Sakayanagi. At least he loses one life. And in this volume, Katsuragi has reminded us why he was the leader of Class A at the time. Even so, he still has a lot to learn to be on par with a genius like Arisu, but as I said, it may be silly. But the fact that he loses one life is very important, especially in this exam, where lives are limited and a mistake can cost you expulsion. But, well, within the most anticipated fight, Arisu vs Ryuen, we have a very interesting match. I have to say that I really liked how it was handled. And, well, I know I left out things between the fights, like the roles, but people, if I start explaining all that, now the video lasts 1 hour. But as I said, the fight has a close start that I like a lot. Ryuen manages to hold on, but little by little Arisu gains ground on him, until he is forced to use that, and that is when Ayano Kuji intervenes in the matter. Knowing how he is, Arisu gives a message to Ryuen, which is clearly a trap, but since it is Ayano Kuji's, Arisu plays along. And in the final situation of Ryuen with 1 life and Arisu with 5, we have the interrogation of Hashimoto, which ends with Arisu losing on purpose. And I don't know what to think. I'll give you my personal opinion. I didn't like it. Not the fact that Arisu lost, but the fact that Ryuen wins thanks to Ayano Kuji. I don't know what the author has in mind, but I think that in this fight, Ayano Kuji should stay away. But at the same time, no, as you saw in my video where I talk about Ayano Kuji, you will know that something I love about him is that just like with Kushida, he is making wrong decisions. As I said before, he knows that the right thing to do is to simply observe, but his feelings lead him to interfere. I like this contradiction and at the same time I don't like it, and I think that with volume 12.5, I will come to a conclusion about whether the author screwed up with this fight or made the best possible move in any case. New departures from school arose when the special end-of-year exam concluded. Ryu and Kakeru lost, and Sakaya Nagiarisu also lost. Within that contradiction, there were winners and losers. I am Blazer, subscribe if you liked the video.